Yo, top of the morning to you, wealth champions. Y'all know what it is, man. It is time for the St. Louis Hustle podcast with yours truly, Cortez Hustle in the building. My illustrious guest or co-host is under the weather this morning, but guess what? You got me, man, and it's going down. Nevertheless, we've got a great show lined up for you, and we're talking about relationships, man. One of the age-old questions that still looms today when it comes to relationships, and that is, can a marriage survive when one or both spouses have close relationships with members of the opposite sex? So let me roll this intro, man, and then we're going to get right into it this morning.
Growing up in St. Louis has never been easy, and most say if you want to succeed here, that you must leave and put down roots somewhere else because of the strong crabs in a barrel mentality here.
I don't know if I'm just an optimistic person, but to see people like Chuck Berry and Nelly make it in the music industry, or the Roberts brothers and Dave Stewart in business, or William Lacey Clay Jr. in politics, can we blame the city, or is it that people just aren't hungry enough?
We're talking to all of the movers and shakers in this town, from entertainers to politicians, social activists and organizers, and of course, entrepreneurs.
Is there a curse on this city that holds people back? Is there an unseen hand that decides who makes it and who doesn't? You're about to find out.
Welcome to St. Louis Hustle.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to St. Louis Hustle Podcast. I'm your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor. And I'm super excited for today's topic, man. It's one that looms all throughout, not just marriages, but any committed relationship, man. You will see this topic come up from time to time. And I'm just wondering, what say ye, Facebook? Can a marriage survive if one or both parties have, close friendships with members of the opposite sex? I'm going to give you my take on that here in a few minutes. Of course, we've got some great gone viral clips for you from a man, Corin Claiborne, and that's going to be super funny as well. Do me a favor, go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the comments if you want to be a part of the show. If you happen to be catching us live on Facebook or YouTube, I can see your comments on this topic. It should be a good one today. But huge shout out to all of our first responders who are dealing with this coronavirus epidemic yet still, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people on the front line. Missouri is open in most parts of the state. I think it's Kansas City and St. Louis City and St. Louis County that are still under the mandated quarantine where we can't go outside and play. Right? But if you're in St. Charles County and some of these other Lincoln County, you're good to go. Tons of people are still affected by this thing. Let me know. And where are you? And is your city open for business, right? Let me know in the comments if your city is open for business, and whether you are a first responder in terms of a nurse or doctor or hospital staff. There's a lot more first responders out there, or people who are dealing with or on the front lines of just coronavirus, right? They're telling everybody to stay home, and all the restaurant commercials are saying, hey, stay home, we got you, we're going to send you your food. Well, guess what? If you're a delivery driver and you're delivering food, you are considered frontline in my books, man. So huge shout out to you as well. If you are a sanitation worker, ladies and gentlemen, sanitation workers, since the beginning of sanitation in terms of moving waste from cities, have always been on the front lines, not just coronavirus, but all viruses, and ain't no telling what people are throwing away in their trash, and those people have to deal with that. So if you are a sanitation worker, then shout out to you. We want to show you guys some love this morning as well. It's not just doctors, it's not just nurses. It's not just hospital staff. There are a lot of people making this economy go. If you are a truck driver, I want you to shout yourself out. Let me know if you are a truck driver and hit that horn. Wong, wong. So Gail Andrews says Prince George, Maryland is still on lockdown. If you are a truck driver, man, let us know in the comments, man, because you are on the front line. My wife can't get her umpteen thousand packages delivered without you guys, man. And we know that internet shopping is at an all-time high right now, but not just for us who are shopping, but all of us who have to get the essential products and services to the stores so that we can have food to eat and things of that nature, man. Truckers make this economy go round. So we want to show some love to all of our first responders. If you are working a regular job, man, and your job is considered essential, and you have to leave your house every day to go to somebody's office, somebody's factory, somebody's warehouse, whatever kind of work you do, let us know in the comments what it is that you do, and we want to show you some love as well. Welcome to the St. Louis Hustle Podcast, where we talk all things St. Louis, man. Today, we're talking relationships, man. Let me know in the comments, do you think that a marriage can survive if one or both parties have close relationships with members of the opposite sex? We've got some other great questions for you as well as we continue to roll through today's episode. But questions like, should married people and single people hang out together? What say ye? Right? We're going to get into all of that stuff. Should married men and women go out to the club with their single friends? What do you think, right? We've got some great stuff for you today, and we're going to get right into it. But really quickly, let me go ahead and hit this first commercial break, and we will be right back in a second.
St. Louis Hustle Podcast is brought to you by Reggie the Lion. Go to ReggieTheLion.com to grab yourself a copy of the coloring book and keep up with all the latest developments of the dog and everything that Reggie the Lion is planning to bring to our children. Also, check out OfficeHuddlePrint.com. All of the graphic designs that you've seen for the St. Louis Hustle Podcast are courtesy of Office Huddle Print Shop. Our good friends helped us with logos, flyers, thumbnails, even our merchandise, courtesy of OfficeHuddlePrint.com. St. Louis Credit Repair Institute, get your credit in the right order. SCLCreditFix.com. They average 50 to 150 point increases for over 100,000 customers so far, and you can be next. SCLCreditFix.com. The St. Louis Hustle Podcast is a copyrighted production of iHustle Media Group. Any unauthorized use of the content of this show is strictly prohibited. iHustle Media Group, a better way to market.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the St. Louis Hustle Podcast. I'm your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor. And I apologize, my co-host, Michelle A, is a little under the weather this morning. So I'm rocking it and I'm holding it down by myself this morning. Actually, I'm not. I'm holding it down with you guys. So I need you guys to help me with your comments. Ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to be watching us live on Facebook Live, on YouTube, then let me know your thoughts on today's subject, man. Can a married couple survive in a committed relationship if one or both of those people are or have close relationships with members of the opposite sex? What say ye, Facebook? But before we get into that, let's just go with some of these other things, man. If you are a husband or wife, if you are in a long-term committed relationship, answer me this question. Is it safe to have members of the opposite sex as close friends when you are married? Yes or no? And I know some people will say, well, Cortez, if when I got with my spouse, my husband and or my wife, and I had this close friend before we got together, should I not be allowed to maintain friends with this person? That is a good question, and I will tell you that I have some relationships with women outside of my marriage. But I will tell you, I think the one caveat is that none of these women, all of these women that I have relationships with outside of my marriage, they're also friends with my wife. I think that is the thing. But let me know what you guys think. That I think that makes it easier to cope and to deal with, right? So my good friend Ariel, she's married to one of my good friends, James, since um, elementary school, right? And we talk all the time because she's actually in my coaching program. I help her with her business and her nonprofit organization. So we talk all the time, but she is also a good friend of my wife. Now, would that cause some issues if she was only friends with me and couldn't stomach my wife, or they couldn't get along, or they couldn't have a conversation? I think, yeah, that's when it becomes a real problem. Or if this is a relationship that is being hidden from either spouse. So, what say ye, Facebook? What say ye, YouTube? What do you think? Um, Answer me this. Should a married man or a married woman be constantly going out kicking it with their single friends, right? I don't know if you guys are fans of Jerry Seinfeld, but I watched his stand-up um, here recently, and it was pretty funny. And he talked a lot about marriage and the fact that single people and married people have two different objectives. They have two different outlooks and views on everything. Can I go out once or twice a year with my single friends? Absolutely. Can I go out with my single friends every weekend? I don't think that is a good idea. And it's easy for me to say that because I never been the going out type of guy. And I've got a cousin who, since he was 15, man, he was in the clubs on the east side, and I'm not just talking about strip clubs. I'm talking about all the clubs. Every night, every weekend, that he's at the Max. He's at Posh. He's at, yeah, I don't even know the names of some of these places, but since he's about 15, man, he's been sneaking in clubs and doing his thing, man. I just never had been that type of guy. But do I want? Can I go shoot some pool with a single friend every now and then? Sure. Can I go? I don't drink, but if I went and had a Sprite while my homeboy wanted to sit at the bar and knock back a couple beers, and he's single, and I think that's okay. But where you make habits is where I think you get into trouble, right? If you have a habit of hanging out with single people and you're trying to live as a single person for those few hours while you're out, and you're saying that nothing is going to happen, I can go out and I can flirt and all of this stuff, and I don't think that's a good look for any married person, right? What do you guys think? Here's another question. Um, should married people list their status as married on social media, right? Should that be an obligation, right? If you are a married person, should your status on Facebook still say single? Should your status on some of these social media platforms still say single? Or are you mandated to have your profile picture as one with you and your spouse? Can you can you Can you have a profile picture where you are by yourself, looking all sexy and tempting, but at the same time you're married? Because I wonder if that's why a lot of women deal with um, lower extremity pictures in their inbox, and they're mad, and their spouses are mad because they look like they're single on their profile picture, right? How many of you guys have ever seen that, right? And then when they get unsolicited images of lower extremities, or they get unsolicited requests to go out and things of that nature, not only is your profile picture saying you're single, but so does your cover photo. If we look through your photo album, there's no family pictures. There's no pictures of a spouse, not even your kids, right? If you look single, then sometimes you're going to get approached as if you're single. But what are your thoughts? Do you think that it should be mandated on social media that a person lists their marital status? I think I say I'm married on Facebook. Let me go out there and check. Let me see. Now this might be a telltale sign for me because I've said that I'm married to my wife and who she is. I don't think she ever accepted my request. Because when you say you're married in your profile, and you tag that person, they have to accept the tag, and then it shows that both of you guys are married to each other on your profile. Let me just see what my profile says here on social media. I think it says I'm married, and I think it says who I'm married to. I just don't think she's claiming me right now. So should that be a problem? What if you say you're married on Facebook and your profile says yes, married, but your spouse's profile does not? Is that an issue? Is that something that we should be worried about? Let's see. It says my profile. It does say I'm married. It just does not say to whom I'm married, because she didn't accept my deal. So should I be concerned that my wife has not accepted my tag that we are married, or am I okay? Am I safe, right? So we got a few questions floating around. I want to get your thoughts on this. Since I don't have my co-host with me this morning, let me know your thoughts. Question number one, the main topic of today is this: can a marriage survive if one or both people have close relationships with members of the opposite sex? My wife has a guy that she talks to that she worked with years ago, and I don't feel threatened by that at all. I've met the guy, and I just think my wife and I are solid. Could there be some signs? If she started spending a whole lot of time with this guy, or she went into the bathroom every time her phone rang and she had to talk privately to this guy, could that be an issue? Yeah, I think that would be an issue for anybody. But I think that you can have relationships with the opposite sex and while you're married. I think, in fact, if you don't, that could be a bigger problem than if you do. I think the problem comes in where you are not secure enough, or your spouse is not secure enough to have those relationships openly, and you are hiding the fact that you have a relationship with someone. In my household, we don't do the whole lock your phone things. We don't do, the exit the room when we get a phone call. We don't do, if someone calls my phone and she picks it up and says hello, that's not an issue where I start sweating bullets, right? I just don't think we have anything to hide. And I don't think that's an infringe on privacy, right? Because some people will say, well, it's my privacy. I can have my phone locked, and you know, I just never did that, man. And in fact, I never wanted to be in a relationship where I saw that was a necessity, right? A, my wife is not just going to randomly go through my phone just because, right? Um, B, I don't have anything to hide. So if she did, she wouldn't find anything. C, if I was in that type of relationship, I think it would drive me crazy, right? I'm just not one to be lying and trying to remember the lies and keeping up with the lies and all of that kind of stuff, man. I am super stoked that neither one of us feels the need to have to go through any of that. So that's the main topic. What about this? Can married people hang out with single people regularly? I'm not talking about once or twice, every now and again. I'm talking you got 3, 4, 5 single friends, and every weekend you ripping and running the streets with those single people. I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's good. I don't think a marriage will survive that very long at all. Because at the end of the day, a woman needs security. At the end of the day, a man needs to feel respected. And if you are constantly around single people, and single guys are attracting single girls, and you're a man and you're running with this single crowd, chances are some of those single girls are going to start coming on to you, ring or no ring, right? And it's only a matter of time, man, till one, until you crack under being constantly tempted. Now, can you withstand temptation once or twice? Sure. But if you constantly put yourself in a place where you are always tempted, right? Where my married fellas at out there checking us out on YouTube or Facebook, let me know your thoughts. Can you constantly put yourself in environments where you are tempted, right? It's like, as a man, I never felt comfortable in strip clubs, right? And as a married man, I really, really, really don't feel comfortable in strip clubs. But I know some married men do. And the question is, how long can you withstand the temptation of not only women being around you all the time, but naked women? Or do you have an agreement with your wife that if, you get a lap dance in that environment, is that fair game in your relationship, right? Because you don't know her, she don't know you. There's no emotional connection there. You pay a few dollars and you get a lap dance, and it ends right there. I find something to be wrong with that, but that's just me, man. I'm a weird, different type of dude, and I know that's not the same. It's the same with everybody else. So when we come back on the other side of this break, man, we're going to hit you with some clips from Gone Viral, and then we're going to come back and continue to dive in. I've got another question, man. What's up with the wife or the work wife or work husband? Is that okay, right? Is it okay for your wife to have an emotional connection? Is it okay for your husband to have an emotional connection with someone that they work with, someone they go to lunch with every day? How does that work? So when we come back on the other side of this break, we're going to tackle some Gone Viral, and then we're going to continue our conversation on this relationship topic. So let's roll this break real quick.
I have done 2 prior Longevity Better Health Now challenges. I decided this time around I needed an extra push. A good thing to remember is 32 pounds is the weight of my 3.5-year-old son, and I am not carrying around a 3.5-year-old basically.
I'm a mother of 4. I just want to see how healthy I can get so that I can be around for a while. It's pretty amazing whenever you're excited to get on the scales every morning and see what the numbers are instead of dreading it.
When I went to convention last year, the day of the 5K, this lady, Merle, came across the finish line, and she was visually impaired. She was blind. From this day forth, I said, I'm changing my lifestyle, and I'm just going to be a whole new me.
I was out of control. I really let myself go. And I thought, okay, who loses 12 pounds in a week? I'm like, this is such a joke. But it happened, and it happened again and again and again. Anybody can do this. If I can do it, you can do it.
Leading up to today has been a whirlwind, but I feel amazing. Everybody makes you feel really awesome when you come here too, so it just kind of like heightens your excitement about everything.
I feel so much better. If I could help just one person be able to do that for their life, then it'd be worth it all.
I feel amazing. I can't believe how far I've came from last year to this year.
I have kept my weight off within 2 to 5 pounds, which is a complete miracle. Let's go!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the St. Louis Hustle Podcast. I'm your host, Cortez. Hustle coming to you live and direct from the Monetize My Life studios here in St. Louis, Missouri. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you have gift, talents, and special abilities, which I know that you do, and you want to learn how to turn those things into profit, then I want you to go to monetizemylifenow.com, grab your free copy of the book, and all you do is cover shipping, and we will get that right out to you. You'll learn the 4 incredibly simple ways to turn your passion into profit with little to no startup costs. It's one of those things where I know you see people who have way less talent than you, way less skills than you, but they are making money doing something that you also love, that you're also skilled with. The only difference is they've learned how to package and present their stuff to the marketplace, and you have not. And that's what this book will do for you. MonetizeMyLifeNow.com and get your free copy of the book. Just cover shipping, and we'll get it right out to you today. So we're talking, man, relationship. Can a marriage survive if one or both parties have close relationships with members of the opposite sex? What say ye, Facebook? What say ye, YouTube? If you're checking us out on the actual podcast or on the St. Louis Hustle, SELHustlePodcast.com website, then there's a place for you to leave your thoughts and your comments there as well. I don't think so. I think inevitably there will be some issues that arise. There is a certain sense of uneasiness if that relationship has some secret elements or secret compartments or some secret things. So for instance, if my wife could not at any given point in time put the phone on speakerphone when she's talking to a member of the opposite sex, then that creates a little bit of uneasiness. And I think the same would be for her. If I can't talk to a member of the opposite sex on speakerphone, then I think that creates a problem, right? But as long as those folks are cool with the couple in general, I think it becomes a little bit easier to deal with. We also want to know what's the deal with the work wife and the work husband, right? Is that a real thing that should or could cause problems? If you got a work wife or a work husband, let me know in the comments, man. I'm just wondering, how do you not get emotionally attached to your work wife or work husband, right? Good question to ask. So let's jump into some of these gone viral clips real quick this morning, and I think you're going to find these hilarious. Again, we get these from I think his name is Corin Claiborne, and he does these voiceover videos that are amazing. And you got to see this. So if you're listening to the podcast, at some point you want to go over to either the show page, STLHustlePodcast.com, or the YouTube channel or the Facebook page, so you can see these for yourself. You can hear them, and they sound pretty cool. Like this first one is a couple kids, and one kid is complaining to the other kid for coming to his house. He has no cable. the other kid says, hey, when I come over to your house, you don't ever have any food. But it is just hilarious, the looks on these kids' faces. So let me roll this one real quick, and then we'll roll a couple more and get back to our conversation at hand.
I don't know why I done let my mama drop me off over here. Y'all ain't got no cable. Y'all ain't got nothing to eat. But we can watch the news or something. News? I knew I shouldn't have came over here. Bro, how many times I came over your house and you ain't had nothing to eat in there? Man, every time. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Bro, your mama could have contact cable killers. Ain't number $33 a month. Your mama ain't got $33? Bro, what is you saying? We got cable. Bro, y'all got basic cable, man. Mm-hmm. Y'all got basic. Man, just shut up. Shoot. Basic things like butter and eggs. Bro, I ain't even gonna be able to watch SpongeBob. Lord have mercy. I'm gonna miss SpongeBob, dog. Cause I ain't got no cable.
Whoa, man. Y'all see my man is hilarious with these voiceover clips. But that ain't it, man. We got some more for y'all today. I want y'all to check this one out, man, and let me know what you think as well. I don't know if you guys ever remember when Tiny from the group Escape, and now more famously known for Family Hustle as rapper T.I.'s wife, but her and her good friend Shakana had a show together where they would go on these excursions, and this particular excursion didn't go too well. They were out riding bikes. They were first on, I don't know what you call the bike with where two people ride at the same time, but they started out on one of them, and then they get on this motorized joint, and it just goes south. So let me play this one and let y'all check it out.
Girl, my legs tied. Sir, white man, let us get that one and y'all get this one. Doggone it, I'm gonna need a muscle relaxer after pedaling this thing. Let us get that one. We know how to drive it like we ain't no little kids. Hold on, Shakana. You better hold on, because here we go. We on the way. Hold on, this thing going a little bit too fast. Hold on. Come, stop it. Motorcycle off. Power off. Somebody come get this thing. Stop it. Girl, stop this thing. I can't stop it.
Whoo-wee, that is hilarious. What we see in that clip, man, is they jump on this motorized thing, and Tiny is driving. Her feet slips off the pedal, so she's got one leg dragging, and it's a motorized thing, so it's just taking off, and it's got a life of its own. And man, it's just crazy. Some of these clips, I don't know where he finds these clips, but his voiceovers are amazing. Now, this next one, I'm going to show it to you guys, but don't get mad at me because it involves a baby and it involves a fall. But it is funny. The baby didn't get hurt or anything like that, but I know how sensitive some people can be when it comes to certain subject matter, but it's hilarious as well. So baby got a new toy and is ecstatic about it, and he does this voiceover, and it's just amazing. So let's check this one out.
Bruh, mama, tell me I'm dreaming, bruh. Hey, bruh, look at it, dog. Look, it right here. Look at it. Man, I'm finna stun on all my friends. Come here, Timothy. Timothy, come look at my whip, Timothy. Hey, bruh, look at the wheels on this stuff. Doggone it. I'm good. Just make sure my whip good. Oh, my wrist hurting. All right. That's man. Yeah, I'm all right, mama. Check on my truck, not me.
Oh, little baby took a little bit of a tumble there, trying to get to that new toy. But what's up with the parents? Why they got the toy on the other side of the window and just on the other side of the door, just terrorizing the baby like that? But let me know what you think. Facebook, YouTube. If you are tuning in live, then you can interact with the show. We've got a couple more good questions that we are running through on this topic of relationship and opposite sex friendships, right? Number one, can a marriage just even survive? Let me know your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. If one or both parties in the marriage got close opposite sex friendships, right? And then let's add this to it. If I had this friendship before we got together, am I expected to have to get rid of this friendship now that we are in a committed relationship or even married? I think that's a good one to tackle because I don't, if my wife had a friendship and with a person of the opposite sex, and they were strictly friends before we got together, and she could convince me that it was strictly platonic and they had never, ever, 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 ever had anything going on, then I think I could be okay with it. There would definitely have to be some boundaries because of the natural insecurities of a man. I don't ever want my wife around members of the opposite sex alone for too long, just period. Because as a man, my mind, things gets to racing, and you don't want to think that even if you trust your wife, do you trust the guy, right? So I know that's one of the things. Definitely, I don't think I can handle it if they are friends and at one point they crossed the line, realized it wasn't a good idea, and then they just went back to just being friends, and that's all it was. I don't think I can handle that. Um, just knowing that you will have a close relationship with someone that, you know, I don't care how far it was, could have just been kids, could have been all the way, could have been somewhere in between, first to home plate, if there was ever anything romantic and you guys still have that relationship. I couldn't handle that. Fellas, let me know. Is that something that you would be able to handle? If your wife remains friend with someone that she had a fling with, right? And now there is no more flinging. It is just strictly friendship. That I couldn't handle that. Um, let's see. Should married people be allowed to um, constantly hang out with their single friends? Right? Is that a thing that can make or break a marriage? Could a marriage last in that circumstance? Or, is that not a good thing? I'm going to vote not a good thing. Because think about it. I remember the things that I got into as a single man. I remember, I guess it's been about 4 or 5 years ago. Um, one of my good friends had a bachelor party, right? At a hotel. He was about to get married the night before his wedding. He had a little kickback, and they brought strippers in the place. And you talk about one uncomfortable brother, right? A, um, they were blowing a lot of trees, and as someone who's a recovering pothead, that made me uncomfortable. And then they were drinking a lot. Someone who's a recovering, um, not alcoholic, but I used to drink when I couldn't find any pot, right? So that made me uncomfortable. But then they bring in the ladies, and that really, really made me uncomfortable because not only as a man, but as a Christian man, I'm taught to abstain from even the appearance of evil, right? Because the last thing I need is for someone to see me walking out of a hotel room where a bunch of strippers just went in, right? And or walking out of a hotel room and a bunch of half-naked women are walking out with me as the party is ending, right? Those types of things to me should be out of your system by the time that you decide to get married, or if you don't believe in the actual act of marriage, the paper contract, and you just decide to enter into a committed relationship. I just think those things should be out of your system, right? And then, this leads me to another one, because the other thing that made me uncomfortable is clearly my friend is in a committed relationship. It's the night before he gets married, and he's got naked women parading all around. And, I left, as the party was starting, because again, I was uncomfortable. I don't know how far my friend went, but how do you tell your friend that they're crossing the line in terms of, you know, they're flirting or whatever? What should you do, or how do you tell a friend that you don't agree with how they interact in their marriage, right? Can you do that and not be seen as a hater? Can you talk to your friend, pull your friend's coattail and say, listen, bro, um, what you're doing is, this flirting is, it is not a good look for a married man. Can you do that? Should you do that? Is it your place? Or are you considered a hater if you're doing something like that? How do you bring it to their attention, right? If you work with that person who's got the work husband or the work wife, and they're huddled up all the time, right? And they're in secluded areas alone all the time. Can you tell that person, hey, you're a married woman, you're a married man. You shouldn't be spending so much alone time with a member of the opposite sex. Does that work? Right? I don't know, man. I'll be honest, I would feel uncomfortable having that conversation. Um, but I guess it also depends on how close we are, and if this person really is sincere about making their relationship last. I think I could say, hey man, you're going down a slippery slope there. Um, because I think flirting is only just flirting when one of the other people keeps it in that box, right? But what happens when you flirt with a woman? If you're a guy, you're a married guy, you flirt with a woman, and that woman takes it to the next level. Now, do you pull back? Now, do you shut it down? Or do you see how far you can get? Do you see how far it will go? And I think that's where a lot of men get themselves in trouble, because they will continue to push the envelope, right? Say something slick, and if she responds favorably, then you say something slicker, right? And you keep going down that road just to see how far you can go, is what you tell yourself. And before long, you're climbing out of somebody's bed. And, I think that's why you refrain from that to begin with, and it keeps you out of that situation. A couple more questions that we got on this topic, man. Can you advise them to do the right thing without seeming like you're meddling? No, I think you're gonna seem like you're meddling, but if they're friends of yours, or one of them is a friend, and you don't want to see their marriage destroyed, I think it's okay to meddle. Hey man, listen, you don't want to go there, bro. How would you feel if your spouse was doing what you're doing? How would you feel if your spouse was the woman and another guy was coming on to her or flirting with her as aggressively as you are with this young lady right now? Will that ultimately lose or cause the friendship to end? I think if that person is a habitual flirter and a habitual cheater and a habitual womanizer, then absolutely that friendship is going to end. Because nobody constantly wants to be around the person that is reminding them of what's right. right? If you are that person and you're married, that's why you hang out with single guys, because single guys will tend to not care as much about you destroying your marriage, right? But you don't want to be around someone who's going to pull your coattail constantly. And then you have to always wonder if that person is going to tell your wife. So I think that friendship definitely will come to an end, right? So it's one of those things, man, you just have to strongly consider. I think there can be friendships as long as there are boundaries and those boundaries are clear or clearly defined between both parties. I have in my business world, I operate in the direct sales or network marketing space. And if you know anything about that industry, you know that it's 65% women, about 35% men. So I have lots of women on my team, right? And we just have to have boundaries, right? When I'm talking to them, most of the time I'm talking to them on speakerphone, right? And they don't have a choice as to whether or not they're going to be on speakerphone. They're going to be on speakerphone because it sets my wife at ease, right? That's one of the boundaries that we have. They don't call the house all times of the night, right? Those are boundaries. Um, you know, if we have to meet, we meet in public places that my wife knows where we're going to be and who I'm going to be with. I could very easily um, have meetings at their homes, but again, that's the appearance of evil. No, if we're going to do some training, then meet me at Starbucks or at the bread company, and we'll do that out in the open and publicly. I actually had that happen one time where um, I did have to go to a lady's house for a meeting, and my wife was not able to come with me. Um, and man, I talked to her about how uncomfortable it was. It's because again, nobody wants to have the appearance of evil in the relationship. And my wife trusts me and all that good stuff, but still, you try to do things with decency and in order. So there are certain things and certain ways that I behave. I remember hearing a sermon from a preacher that really helped me be at ease with it, because he said if he flies into town to speak or preach at another church and they send a female to pick him up from the airport alone, he's going to take a taxi, right? Because that's the appearance of evil. Why is he riding with this lady, right? So just got to be careful with that all the way around if you're married. And if you do have friends and there's nothing to hide, then you should be open to talk about that friendship with your spouse. And there should be some clear boundaries. And I think you have to respect your spouse's wishes as it relates to how you deal with that friend, right? If your spouse has an issue with you going out to have drinks with that person alone, I think you have to respect that. If your spouse has an issue with you taking that person's phone call beyond a certain time at night, I think you have to respect, both of you would have to respect the wife's wishes in that regard. So those are my thoughts on the relationship deals with a married couple having friendships, close friendships with members of the opposite sex. I think it's okay as long as it's not a hidden relationship. I think it's okay as long as there are clearly defined boundaries and they are respected by both the spouse and the friend of the opposite sex. I think that is critically important, because I think that's where issues come in at if you have that opposite sex person all up in your relationship saying, man, ain't nothing going on. We can hang out and we can do this. No, that ain't your place. It's not your place. You respect that. Hey, don't call my house at this time of night because my wife is uncomfortable, because my husband is uncomfortable. No, I can't come out and have drinks with you alone. Even though I know we're just friends, my spouse is uncomfortable. Those sorts of things. No, you can never come over to the house when my spouse is not here. Makes them uncomfortable, right? Those types of things will have to be clearly defined and in place if a marriage is going to survive, or a long-term committed relationship is going to survive having friendships with members of the opposite sex. So, that being said, it's going to wrap us up for today. Again, make sure that you go over to monetizemylifenow.com. If you want to get your free copy of the book, you will learn the 4 incredibly simple ways to turn your passions into profit with little to no startup cost. MonetizeMyLifeNow.com. The book is free. You just cover shipping and we'll get it right out to you today. Also, shout out to my other sponsors, Office Huddle Print Shop. If you guys like the St. Louis Hustlers t-shirt, well, guess what? That comes from courtesy of Office Huddle Print Shop. They designed the logo for the show as well as our merchandise logo. A lot of the graphics that you see related to the show comes from Office Huddle Print Shop. So if you go to officehuddleprints.com, you can check out their unlimited graphics package. It is absolutely amazing. Also, our Healthy Weight Challenge is another sponsor. So if you go to mywellnessgameplan.com, you'll learn all the products and things that are required to complete a successful healthy body challenge. And if you are looking to lose weight, eat better, get more nutrients in your diet, then you definitely want to go check out mywellnessgameplan.com. I'm a big fan of the founder of that company, Dr. Joel Wallach, and he will help you get yourself all the way in shape and recover your health like nobody's business. So until we talk to you guys next time, we want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve